tutorial, we're going to walk through how to create a remarketing list in Google AdWords. So the first thing you need to do is to access your audiences page from within your account. And you do that by going first to shared library in the left-hand navigation over here, and then down to audiences. And this is going to open up the page for your remarketing audience creation. Every single list that you create in AdWords is housed and made right in here. So this is where you need to go again to make any remarketing list via AdWords. To create a new list, you just simply click on this red remarketing list button, and this is going to open up the settings page for your list. So the first thing that you need to do is give your remarketing list a name. Make sure that you're naming it something specific enough so that you know the audience that's within it just from looking at the title. So I'm going to call this Chicago Location Visitors. So this list that I'm creating is going to target all users that have been to our Cardinal Path training sites and gone to our Chicago training location page. They've expressed interest in this specific location, so now I can have them as an audience, and anytime we have a new training coming up in that location, I can show them very specific ads that we are coming back to Chicago. So you give it a name, and then the next step is to create your rule. So when you're deciding who to add to your list, it's all going to be based on the URLs that people have or have not gone to on your site. So what pages have they visited, or what pages have they not visited that would make them part of this audience. Now if you click on this drop down, you'll see that you have a few options here. This first one, visitors of a page, is the one that you're going to use the most often. So visitors that went to XYZ page. But you do have some other options here. So you have visitors of a page that did not visit another specific page. So I could say people that went to our Chicago page but did not go to our checkout page. Visitors of a page who also visited another page. Visitors of a page during specific dates. So this is really good if, let's say, that you just started running a sale, and last month anybody that came to your site, they didn't know the sale was going on, so let's get all those people from before the sale into a remarketing audience, and then once the sale launches, I can show remarketing ads to them, advertising that we now have a sale going on. This last one, visitors of a page with a specific tag. This is really only going to be necessary for anybody that was doing the old way of remarketing through Google AdWords. So you used to have to place a unique code on every URL in order to create your remarketing lists. But now you just place one code on every page of your site and you define your list by URLs. So this one is probably not one that you're going to have to use. And then custom combination, that's going to allow you to take any remarketing list that you already have made and combine them together. But since we are just starting off with the traditional, let's create a remarketing list, I'm going to stick with visitors of a page. So now that I want to get people from a page, I have to get the URL in order to set up my rule. So if I go to our Cardinal Path training site, to our specific Chicago page, all I have to do is just simply grab the URL there, come in, and I paste it in the rule box. Now, I want to point out what happens here when you do that. So you have options to choose whether the URL contains, and then the Chicago training URL, or the refer URL contains. So you can set these up based upon specific refer URLs of people that have come to your site if you want to do that. But again, most of the time you're going to be using the URL itself, not basing these on a refer URL. So I'm just going to click URL contains. And you see here in this blue box, I now have my rule. So let's click into this just to look at some of the other options that you have available. So if I click onto this blue rule box, you see here's the URL, or I could do refer URL. And now I have some other options here. So I can do the URL contains, which just means that this entire string over here has to be in the URL somewhere. So let's say if I had Chicago and then /AdWords at the end for AdWords specific page, or Chicago /analytics for an analytics specific page, those would both be included because this main string is in there somewhere. So if you want to do all visitors to your site, you could just do, in this case, I could do training.cardinalpath.com. It contains it. I know every page contains it on my site. I can set it up that way. You can do equals, which is what I'm going to do in this case because then I know it's just that specific page URL. It's just that one page. It's not getting any of those others that might contain that string. But then you also have starts with, ends with, and then all of these does not equal, does not contain, same as these ones above. So this is how you can kind of exclude any pages in here. So say I want to target people, but not people that visited our thank you page. Now you can choose to add another rule to this, but if you do that, just know that this works as an and statement, not an or statement. So if I was trying to get people that visited our Chicago page, but also our Detroit page, if I put that the URL contains Detroit and contains Chicago, I wouldn't get anyone to this list because this rule is saying that the URL has to contain the word Chicago and the same URL has to contain the word Detroit. So know that these again work as and statements. All of these elements have to be contained within one page URL. So you can add these. Typically I don't because you don't need them. But if you do want to, just remember it works as an and statement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Then down here you can choose to include or not include past visitors that match these rules. I always choose to include it based on cookies. AdWords can determine people have been to this page even before you created this list. So let's go ahead and include those past visitors. They're still valuable to me. Next, you have to set a membership duration. So this can be anywhere from 1 day to 540 days. That's as far back as you can set this. And this is where you're going to say how long from the last visit a person made to this page that I have set up do I want them to be on my list and show them ads. So this again can be set to whatever you want. I like to have different durations of the same lists. I find that very helpful. But let's just leave this as the 30 days for now. Then you want to give a description. So if you don't think that your title is specific enough, I can go in here and say Chicago location visitors from the last 30 days. Again, that's completely optional. You don't have to add it in there, but after that, you are done. It's as easy as that. So giving your remarketing list a name, setting up the rules that audiences have to fit into to be added to the list, choosing your duration, and giving it a description if you want to. So go ahead and hit save. And you're good to go. So your list will be saved here. I can find it right here. And you'll notice that it currently says updating. So once it's done updating, that can take up to 24 hours, you'll see an estimation of the number of people that are on your list, how many people you have available to remarket to. So it's as easy as that, creating a remarketing list in Google AdWords. Thank you for watching.